8 minutes past 10 o'clock on a Saturday morning, and it is very exciting because over the next 15 minutes or so, we're going to be meeting three new people, people who are going to be regulars on this radio show. Who have we got first, Robert?
We've got Rebecca Bradshaw from Jackson in Queensland. She was on a few weeks ago because we made a lot of fun about Jackson, and we actually did a little song. We did a little duet, I think, from memory, Neil.
I think that may happen every 4 weeks from here. Good morning, Rebecca.
Good morning, Neil and Rob. How are you doing today?
Very well indeed. Thanks for being part of this circus this year. That should be fun.
Oh, fantastic. I love a bit of a circus. Always fun to be part of one, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I was just saying to you off air, your entire state. It's Joe Bielke Peterson's birthday today. I think that there is the ringmaster of the circus that is Queensland. Do you enjoy being a bit different, you lot?
Absolutely we do. You wouldn't have us any other way.
Absolutely, being the home state of the 2024 AFL Premiers too, of course.
Oh, goodness gracious me.
I'm going to have to agree with you there and hope that you're right, because I don't follow the AFL.
Excellent. Well, we'll have that beaten out of you before long. Now, Rebecca, tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and the business you run, because that is your qualification for being part of this program.
Excellent. So I am Rebecca Bradshaw. I am a wife, a mother. I love all things books and chocolate.
None of which are the things you're going to talk about.
No, that's right. But, it helps to know the person behind the
Correct, indeed, yes.
I'm a nurse by trade and have been a nurse for almost 20 years now, and most of my nursing background has been in rural Queensland. I have been a child and family health nurse for nearly 15 years now, which means I specialise in all things tiny humans and helping their parents navigate that really challenging part of their life that it's also very rewarding, but more times challenging part of their life as they help raise our next generation of humans.
And more importantly, you're doing it in a regional, rural and quite often remote area, and that adds to the trauma around health issues, being in some cases so far away from really serious medical assistance. So is one of the things that you do is to help make more people aware of first aid?
Not as such. So I focus more on the well babies and the growth and development and helping the families, giving them tools and strategies to help manage and navigate the different phases of parenting. So what's my child doing now? What's normal for this age? How do I help them through the child's challenges of this? How do we empower and educate and just support our parents so that they can make the parenting choices that suit them and their families and fit really well in their heart? Because sometimes what we think we should do as parents versus what we feel is right as parents don't always match up. So sometimes it's really nice to have the support and the information so they can make the right choices. A huge part of what I do is I'm so passionate about rural, regional and remote families, and I'm massively passionate that knowledge is power. So the more people know, the better they can do. So if we can look at health promotion, look at improving health literacy, look at giving these families the toolboxes and the resources so that they can do really well and make those choices and know where their local health services are, know what those red flags are for when they have to go to hospital, know where to find the services and resources so they can educate themselves on first aid training so they can, do all of those first responder stuff before our ambos get there, because it can be a really long time between when somebody needs help and support in an acute phase with the ambos. But it can also be, if mum's really struggling with something, the concern they have of their child, it can be a really long time before they can get an appointment with their local health service.
Yeah, and a lot of people have issues in that they don't know what to do. But I remember an ambulance driver saying to me once when I was sort of first at an accident that as long as you do something, but definitely the more knowledge you have to make sure you're doing something like the right thing during that long period of time is probably really important.
Yeah, and to take another step back, how can we prevent that? Like where's our knowledge, where's our safety, where's our awareness to our environment, what's normal for our child for their mobility, so we can make sure we can try and prevent some of these things happening that we need the ambulance for as well. I think that's really important too.
Well, Rebecca, it was just really today to say hello and meet you. I have actually got a tip that you can pass on to parents about. It's only something I've discovered in the last 2 or 3 years, to be honest. The best way to get your small children to be raised is get your own kids to have them. And that way you just sort of come along and helicopter in, helicopter out. It's so much easier than the last time round I did it.
Yes, 100%. I reckon I laugh because often I'll say to my dad, like, where was this parent when I was a kid? Because, you know, as grandparents, you get to enjoy them a lot more. So, because some of those other stresses are gone and you can relax into that a little bit. So, 100%, I think the best parenting hack is to live close to your grandparents.
Yeah, there's a meme going around at the moment that says, I'm getting really sick of looking after my parents' grandkids. Rebecca, how can people find out more about the service you provide?
Head over to the website, which is ruralchildhealth.com.au. You'll find me on Instagram, Facebook and LinkedIn. And it's Rural Child Health. So nice and simple, exactly what I am. I'm a rural child health nurse, so my business name is Rural Child Health. Keep it simple.
Must have taken you a while to come up with that. We will. There's a page on the Two Blokes Chatting radio station. What do we call it? Radio program website thing that we have 2bc.radio. You can go and find out all about Rebecca. You can even see what she looks like. That would be good. We will talk to you next Saturday with your first real segment.
Fantastic. I look forward to it. Thanks very much, guys, and I look forward to chatting to you all next week.
Thanks, Rebecca.
Thanks, Rebecca. It is 16 minutes past 10 o'clock on a Saturday morning. You're listening to the Two Blokes Chatting radio show on 94.7 The Pulse, and it is with a great deal of pleasure, Rob, that we introduce our next newbie, not so much a newbie, but a friend of the show, someone who's going to talk to us about business going forward.
Yeah, Jenn Donovan, welcome back. This is, I think, at least 3, maybe 4 visits to the Two Blokes Chatting radio show. Good to have you back.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning to you both.
And your front as well, and the rest of you, not just your back.
Yeah. True that, Dad.
Jenn, thank you for agreeing to be part of this show going forward through the year. We're going to hear from you every 4 weeks, starting on the day the music died, the 3rd of February. Tell us about what you do and why we think you'd add value to our conversations.
Oh, thank you. So I live actually on the border of New South and Victoria, down near the beautiful Yarrawonga, which is a very beautiful holiday location and a great place to live. But down here, I help small businesses with their marketing. I absolutely love marketing. Last year, I wrote a book about marketing called Small Town, Big Impact. And, I just help them with their strategy, with their email marketing, with their leads. And I think that, just having a bit of a chat every 4 weeks to your audience about what's trending, what's not trending, maybe some things that they should be looking out for, or it might even be something in the news that we can have a bit of a talk about at the time.
We've dubbed this segment, Rob, and you've got to guess what the theme's going to be for Jenn. We're going to call it Taking Care of Business.
Okay. Righto.
We're still stumbling around for what we could use as a theme.
Jenn, we did speak to you during COVID, and your world and your region's world was quite chaotic with lockdowns and different rules across the river where you are. And I guess one of the things that businesses, and you'd be talking to them about in their marketing space, is being flexible, adaptable, quickly moving to change, because that was a real reminder to small business about the ability to adapt quickly.
Yeah, that's a really great point, and I think it really showed how quickly small business can move as opposed to big business. And I think that's one of our big advantages of being small business owners, is that we can adapt, we can move quickly, whereas perhaps big business takes a few months to sort of be able to make those big changes. So, definitely talking to them about that. And also, I think a real theme going forward because of COVID is building communities as well. So that's going to be a pretty hot topic that we'll talk about as well, is, what it's like to sort of build that community around you rather than an audience.
One of the things I've been banging on a bit on my Monday show is training, skills, customer service, those things which are important to small businesses, and that goes all the way back to education and schools, and we might have it as a bit of a focus at some stage during the year, but finding staff and the importance of staff to small businesses is a very, very key part, and sometimes it's probably overlooked a little.
Yeah, it certainly is a key part, and I know certainly where we are, like I said, it's a bit of a tourism hotspot at this time of the year, and there are certainly quite a few businesses on their social media, saying closing early due to staff shortages, or reduced hours, or please be patient with us because we have reduced staff and things like that. So staffing seems to still be a really big problem coming out of the pandemic.
One of the other things too, Jen, that I would have thought has come out of well, I guess the pandemic, but let's go back 10 years ago, and in a place like Yarrawonga, you're setting up a small business, and probably the community that you were marketing to is pretty much from one end of the main street to the other, and maybe over the border in Mulwala, or if you really stretch it out to Shep. But these days, the sort of stuff that you do and so many other small businesses do, you could be standing in the main street of Yarrawonga and actually providing a service to Kununurra.
Yeah, absolutely. The World Wide Web has changed the way that we operate businesses, most certainly. And even for me, I operate my business from my farm home office, but my clients are all around Australia. I don't have any clients overseas. I did have one in New Zealand.
That's not really overseas.
It's over Ussie.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
Ussie. It's like Tasmania. It's over Ussie. It's still just part of us, though. I get to do that. I get to help clients all around Australia, even though I'm in my home office, on my farm, in Mulwala. So definitely got to think outside the box with your marketing a little bit, and also, of course, your business plan.
I think, the old days of walking down to the local pub and shaking hands with someone over the bar and saying, I do a bit of fencing, or I do a bit of electrical work, or whatever, that still happens, but it would change your marketing message, I would have thought, because it's, setting up trust when you can't look the person in the eye, you can't jump in the car and drop in, it changes the message, I would have thought.
Yeah, it certainly does, but I think, still one of the most powerful marketing strategies is still word of mouth. So being good at what you do and get people to tell other people, how good you are at what you do. And that's what comes back to, building that community around you. For me, an audience is something you talk at. A community is something you are involved in. So
there you go.
Really trying to change that mindset of people thinking, I need to grow my audience. But no, you don't. You need to grow your community.
Well, we need to grow ours, but that's another story for another time.
Very wise advice. Another regular guest of mine talks the same language, so let's hope it becomes very common very soon, because I reckon a lot of businesses have not engaged with that theory yet.
No. That's my mission for 2024 for sure.
It's also the difference between communicating and engagement. Communicating is running down to the fence and hurling a whole lot of flyers over the fence, whereas engaging is actually building a relationship. So it's a very similar concept, isn't it?
It is, and no one needs someone else telling them what to do and yelling at them on social media or anything. Like, we have an overwhelming amount of information thrown at us every single day. So build a community to stand out.
Sounds like a plan, Jen. Now, how can good folks find out about what you do? What's your website?
It's called socialmediaandmarketing.com.au. You will find me there, and you'll find me on some socials at Jenn Donovan. Jenn has 2 N's in it.
So does Donovan.
No, he doesn't. He has 1.
God, you're on fire this morning, Dan.
Donovan's got 2 N's in it. One in the middle
and
one
at
the end.
Not in a row, though.
No, not sequentially. But no, but you are a special Jen because you've got 2 N's, and you're a special Jen because you're a friend of the program. Jen, we will look forward to talking to you next on the 3rd of February at the 9:15 spot, and every 4 weeks after that.
Yeah, brilliant, guys. Can't wait. Look forward to it.
Best wishes, Jen.
Hey, it's 25 minutes past 10 o'clock, and we are going to our 3rd and final newbie to talk to now, Rob. Who have we got on the phone this time?
We have got a very special guest, and it's an important part of mine and everybody's, well, not yours. You're not into pets, but animals. The animals in our lives.
I love animals, primarily roasted
on a table, yes.
Yep.
Oh, there was a funny last night about washing your dog in onions and stuff like that. Anyway, no, that was a rabbit, not a dog. Yeah. We are going to talk to Dione Howard. She loves animals too. She makes them healthy and happy. Good morning. Welcome to the Two Blokes Chatting radio show.
Morning. Thanks so much for having me this morning.
Now, we've come up with a name for Dione's segment. It's going to be called All Creatures Great and Small.
Yes. What a lovely little take-off from a wonderful old English television
and we've
show.
Even got the musical theme for that. So that's our theme for Dione. But Dione, welcome. It's great to have you here. We've spoken to you before in the guise of Regional Roundup, but here you are, a legit part of the show.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me on board this year, and I'm looking forward to talking about all things to do with creatures great and small. I work as a veterinarian, so looking forward to bringing some insights and learnings that I've gained over years doing that. I do focus in my work more so on large animals, but the great thing about going to vet school and getting to collaborate with other veterinarians is that you hear and learn and get to take on board all the things happening with small animals and everything down to pocket pets as well.
A million years ago, I was a school teacher and I taught mathematics. I didn't teach maths, and I most absolutely certainly didn't teach math.
What about arithmetic?
No, but mathematics was the name of the subject. Do veterinarians always call themselves veterinarians, or do they call themselves vets sometimes?
Oh, a bit of both, probably. It just depends on the setting and who you're talking to and how quickly you've got to get the point across.
And I suppose if you're making a sign to go out the front of your business itself, it's a lot more money to put veterinarian
than
vet.
After how many Chardonnays you've had, because it's a very difficult word to say. Then you got to get all
it's harder
those
to spell. Let me
syllables
tell you, I've
lined up.
typed it several times this week and I got it wrong every time.
Dione, your subject matter is really interesting, because just thinking about before I rang you and then talking to you and thinking since, with small animals and the growth of that industry, plus Australian agriculture, which is so reliant on animal production and therefore health and well-being, you've got 12 segments in the year, and I reckon we could easily fill them up with something completely different every time we talk to you.
Yeah, there's everything from, like individual animal pet care and making sure that our animals and our very best friends a lot of the time stay fit and healthy, and learning what to look out for and making sure that we're preventing as much disease or issue as we can. And then there's everything through to the animals that produce our food and fibre that we eat and wear and use, and making sure that those animals are looked after in the best possible way, and also, I suppose, giving a greater understanding for those perhaps who aren't as connected to the land and might not have a country cousin that they can duck out to the farm and see what's happening with animals, to understand what is happening if you're driving down the highway and looking into the paddocks and seeing livestock that are there doing their thing as well.
One week we might talk about information flow, because one thing I've noticed as I've got older, the industry that surrounds pets and probably just extending it to large animals, horses as well. There's so many people have them and they love them and they want to look after them, but the plethora of information about what you need to do, what you need to feed, how many rugs you need to put on a horse. They survived for 1 million years without any, and now you've got to put 6 on them if the temperature gets below 15 degrees. That sort of stuff would be good to work through as well, because there must be some shystery marketing going along around supporting animals.
Yeah, it's about knowing where to go to get the information, and I suppose knowing to, for example, when you're thinking about maybe what you're feeding your animals, knowing that if you get the fundamentals right, that's really the main thing. And then a bit like us, you can add all sorts of things into your diet, but ensuring that you get those key things right, and ensuring that, generally a healthy animal is a pretty happy one, and that's ultimately what we want to achieve for our pets and other animals we care for.
Well, Dione, we know that you're a very busy person today, and not as busy as you're going to be next week, because Dione's sister's getting married next week, and Dione is the 2IC, as it were, as the person, the chief bridesmaid or matron of honour, what do we call them these days? So, congratulations to your sister, firstly, but I know that you're busy today as well, so we'll let you get going. But we just want to get people to hear your voice and know who you are, and look forward to seeing you metaphorically on the 27th of January.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, guys, and looking forward to chatting in a couple of weeks and sharing more with you throughout the year.
Best wishes, Dione.
Thanks, Dione.